All right, this is the CG1 homework, coordinate geometry 1, numbers 1, 3, and 4. First says find the coordinates, the midpoint of the segments with each pair of endpoints. So with number 1, we have 12, -7, and -6, 5. And to review the equation for the midpoint, you just take the two x coordinates and divide by 2, and then the two y coordinates, and also divide by 2. So in this case, we can choose which one we want to be x1 and y1 and x2 and y2. And so what we'll get is 12 plus -6 over 2 and -7 plus 15 over 2. 12 plus -6 is 6, divided by 2 would give us 3. And -7 plus 15 is 8, divided by 2 would give 4. So 3, 4 is the midpoint for number 1. For number 3, we can go ahead and jump to the equation this time. Let's do sum the x coordinates together and divide by 2, and then sum the y coordinates together and divide by 2. So that's going to be 11 over 2, and that's 11 over 2, which is where you get 5.5 comma 5.5 is your answer. And finally, number 4 says one endpoint of a segment is 12, -8, and the midpoint is 3, 18. Find the coordinates of the other midpoints. So if one endpoint is 12 minus 8, then what we're trying to find is the other endpoint. We'll just call xy. So we know that for a midpoint, that 12 plus x divided by 2 and -8 plus y divided by 2 would give us our midpoint if we only knew what x and y was. Now, is there a reason why I wrote x and y, not x2 and y2? No. I don't need the 1 and the 2 because I only have one variable. In fact, when you look at the x1 and x2, I have that so that I can differentiate and say we have 2 different x values here. Okay, back to number 4. So I know that this number here is going to be equal to 3, and this is 18. So really, now I have an algebra problem. So if I multiply by 2, I get 6. Subtract 12, and I get -6. Multiply by 2, I get 36, and then add 8, get 44. And so that's where you get a midpoint of -6, 44. Okay, and that concludes the coordinate geometry 1 homework.